Hey, how you doing? Justin here. Today, you and I are going to be changing our electric guitar strings. The idea of this video is that you're going to change yours along with me. I'm going to give you as much guidance as I can, but the idea is that we do it together. Now, I've got other videos that go into a lot more detail about different types of strings, different types of bridges, different types of tuning pegs, and all that sort of stuff. So if you want a deep dive on anything like that, then head on over to the website and check out some of those specific lessons. This one is going to have a little bit more of a flow about it. That said, if you're not sure about how often you should be changing strings, that's the kind of thing you'll find over on the website. Now, the things that you need. Well, the only thing that you absolutely have to have is a set of strings that you like. Probably the same as the ones that you've got on your guitar already, because if you change up or down a gauge of strings or start using a different brand even, sometimes the action of your guitar might change a little bit. So you do want to be aware of that. Again, if you want more information on different string gauges, different string types, different materials, all of that, head on over to the website. On this guitar, I'm going to be using these XT strings. This isn't a guitar that I play all the time, so I'm using the D'Addario coated string. The coated strings tend to last a lot longer, so that's what I'm going to be using today. Now, that's the only thing you have to have. But one thing that you will find very, very handy is a string winder. Definitely recommend that you get yourself a string winder. Really speeds up the process. This particular one has a little cutter on it for cutting the strings. It's also got a tool for getting the pins out of an acoustic guitar, which we're obviously not going to be using today. But a string winder, very, very good idea. I nearly always use a pair of pliers as well, just to tweak the end of the string. You don't have to, again, that would be an optional thing. I've got my big man-sized cutters for if the little cutters on the string winder don't work. They usually do, but you know, I like to have the man-sized cutters as well. A little bit of spray cleaner, always a good idea. I think when you get the strings off, give the guitar a little bit of a clean. Some lemon oil. I nearly always put lemon oil, even if I don't clean the rest of the guitar. Any of the kind of rosewood fingerboard guitars, which is nearly all of mine, I tend to use a little bit of lemon oil for either of those things. You need a polished cloth. If you decide that you want to tune your guitar laying flat, you're going to need some sort of little neck post thing to support the headstock. I tend to change the guitar like on my lap or resting on the floor, but I know a lot of people prefer doing it on a table. If so, put a towel down, drop your guitar on the top. So that's enough chat. Let's get started. And the first thing that we need to do is take the strings off. So we need to unwind the strings a little bit off the headstock before we get any further. So first thing we're going to do is grab our winder and we're just going to loosen all of the strings off. It doesn't have to be like loosening them right off. It's just like getting them looser. What we don't want to do is cut the strings off and then have like a sudden jolt in tension on the neck. That's the reason we're kind of loosening these off. Just if you cut the strings, it's a bit of a jolt for, especially an old girl like this. She's nearly old as me. She doesn't want to be having to put up with some sudden jolt on her neck. So we're just trying to loosen them off. Like I said, it's not like taking them off, it's just loosening them off. Once you've done that, putting the guitar on our lap, and then you want to cut all of the strings. So I'm going to use my big man-sized tool here, and I'll just pop that on the strings and they can go all in one. But something's just happened down here that's really important that I want you to be aware of. I'm just letting go of things just for now. So the big deal is over here. This tailpiece comes off, right? And if you're not expecting it, if you're holding the guitar vertically when you do that, then it's just going to fly off and this is going to drop on the floor and you might freak out. So just be aware, this is going to come off on a Les Paul type guitar. I'm just going to feed through those slacks of those strings now and take that off. Pop the excess strings down. This other tailpiece here is also a little bit it's loose. It's not going to fall off, I don't think, but it's got potential to. So just be aware. I'm not going to kind of tip this guitar over in a way that might fall off. It should be able to go at a bit of an angle like this though. So then it's just a matter of taking these strings off, just unwinding them off the headstock. Depending on how many winds you put on will determine how many winds it's going to take you to get them off. It's not a big deal. Just take your time. There's no hurry. We're just changing the strings on our guitar. It's no reason for it to be a panic or anything like that. Just take your time, figure it out. Make sure you don't poke yourself in the eye with one of these bits of string. It's not a nice thing. So there we go. We've got the excess strings off. Now, what I usually do is give the guitar a little bit of a wipe down. Now, I'm not big on having to like go through and polish my guitar every time I change strings, but I do like to give it just a bit of a casual wipe. You know, just around here, under where I wouldn't normally be able to clean. Just on the bridge there. Again, being nice and careful with these kind of bridges that might move around a little bit. Yeah, under the strings. You can clean the pickups if you want. Just giving it a little bit of a wipe around. It's a nice time to do it. Another spot that I like to give it a bit of a clean is on the headstock. Again, because the strings are there, the nut of this guitar has just fallen out. That's pretty interesting. I better pick that one up. So it would appear that my nut isn't glued in, but that's okay. It doesn't need to be glued in, but that's surprising. Oh, I love these old guitars. See, that's what I like. Seriously, what I love about old guitars is things don't always go exactly as planned. Anyway, the one thing that I do almost every time I change strings is I put a bit of lemon oil on the neck. So I'm just using, again, it's the D'Addario lemon oil. I just put a little line all of the way down the fretboard. Missed a bit there. Whoops, went a little bit too far there. Bit of a drip on my seat. But anyway, doesn't matter. It's only a bit of oil. Now, my nut's just fallen off again, said the vicar. The idea with the lemon oil is more to clean it than condition it. So I do sometimes use a thing that it termed as conditioner, which is something that maybe I'd put on the neck and leave on for a few, half an hour or something. Lemon oil is more for me about cleaning. So, and just getting any finger gunk off, depending on how often you clean your guitar will change how much gunk you've got on it. This one doesn't have too much, to be honest. So if you find that your guitar's like got loads and loads of gunk on the neck, then maybe you're going to pause the video and spend a little bit of time just cleaning it off. Just go up and down each fret individually and clean it all off. Just going to clean that bit of oil off my nice leather seat before it ruins it, and pick up my nut and just put it down there for now. So the next thing that we've got to do, we're going to put our strings through this little bridge thing. Now, you can either just place it back on and feed them through, or you could even hold it out and put them through that way. It doesn't really matter. Next step, though, is definitely just getting our strings out. So this is a 3-pack. So I'll just get one of those out. This can go down on there. Obviously, it's really important that you get the right strings in the right place. D'Addario have this really nice color-coded system, which keeps it nice and simple or easier to not get confused. You should be able to tell just by looking, really, to be honest. But what we want is the brass one is going to be the thicker string here. So we're just going to feed that through the hole and feed it up. And look, it's fallen off already. So I'm just going to kind of leave it in place, but I'm not going to worry about putting it back on. Then we've got, I think it's the red one, is the 5th string. And I'm going to show you a different little trick here with the Les Paul once we've got those strings on. The middle 2 strings here now, green and black, I think it is. Is it green? Yeah, green and black, but it's the black that's first and then the green. The black is the wound one. Where's the end of that gone? There we go. Slide that through. And Mr. Greeny through the hole, and I'm not even putting it in place right now. Really, I'm just like the main thing is getting it through this little kind of tail piece here from the bridge assembly. There we go. Where's the balls gone? There they are. There we go. Wait, don't you get tangled up in there and embarrass me in the middle of the YouTube video, you naughty string. Okay, and then we want the silver is the thinner string, so it's the purple. Let's forget the colours. The purple one is the B string, so just feed that through. And last but not least, the thin E string. Now, I should point out here with these moving bridges, I've had guitar techs in the past that use a bit of tape to tape it on so that it stays in the right place. I think I'm just going to go for putting on the 2 outside strings to hold it in place first, and then I can go back to my kind of usual method. But it does mean that I'm going to be working kind of a little bit out of the way over here. So what I'm going to do first of all is make sure that all of the holes in all of the tuning posts are all facing in this direction. I want to be able to feed my string right the way through. It doesn't matter whether you tune up or tune down. I just want to be able to see right the way through the hole. So just move those around. Which one's that? Where's that one going? Can't see because of the funny light. There we go. There's that one. This one needs a little bit more of a wind as well. There we go. So the thicker string first of all. So I'm just going to feed it through the hole and I'm going to pull it through all of the way through. Now at this point I'm just having a little look at the bridge to make sure that it's kind of sitting in the right place. Now what we want for this kind of thing is about 5 centimeters worth of wind. Okay, so I'm going to poke the string all of the way through, measure about 5 centimeters, and then push the string back through with that hand. Now once that's through, I'm going to take the excess string and I'm going to wind it around in a clockwise direction. So I'm going around here into the middle, and then I'm going to pull it tight with my finger. Right, so it's gone over the top of this bit that we're going to cut off, around so that it's coming off on the middle, like in between the two sides of the posts. And I'm just going to leave my finger pointing down there. And if I can find my string winder, of course my string winder isn't where I was hoping it was going to be. I have to change fingers. There we go. Hopefully you won't make that same mistake. And now we're winding in an anti-clockwise or counterclockwise direction. So we're going through, and what we're trying to do now is we're making sure that this slack, now the bit that we're going to cut off, is going above the new windings. The new windings are going underneath. So that first strap was going over, the rest are going under. Now this string is tangled up over that post, and I'm also aware that my nut is not on the guitar at this point. So I'm just going to go a little bit more, and then I'm going to feed the nut in, because that string will help me hold the nut in place. There we go. So just put it, like I'm not trying to get it in tune just yet. I'm just going to make sure that it's seated nicely as we go along. String one is done. So what we're going to do now is we're going to clip the string, and then what I usually do is I use my pliers to just grab the end of the string and give it a little tweak so it's facing down toward the body of the guitar, just so my fingers aren't going to get stabbed. I'm going to give you a better view of doing these windings on in just a second when I can lift the guitar up. Right now I'm having to keep it flat because of the funny bridge piece. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the thinnest string. Okay, very often I work all the way from thickest to thinnest, but on these ones where there's a bridge that might fall off, I'm working just on the two outsides to help hold the bridge in. But the process is essentially the same. So I'm going to feed the string all of the way through, right the way through, just check that it's kind of routed correctly. Then I'm going to leave it about 5 centimeters, maybe a little bit more, for the thinner strings can take a few more windings. I'm going to pull it through, then I'm winding it from the outside into the middle. I'm pointing with my first finger. It's really important here. I'm pointing with my first finger to hold the string against the wood, and I'm using my other fingers to kind of keep the tension on the string. Okay, if you let the tension off the string while you're doing the winds, that's how you end up with the winds going kind of all on top of each other. So now we're just going through, winding the string on, again in a counterclockwise direction, trying to keep the tension on, just winding nice and keeping it nice and easy as we wind away. I don't think it's a problem to have, like, you don't want crazy amounts of winds, but you know, I know some people say, oh, you should only have 2 or 3, but I think particularly on the thinner strings, I generally want a little bit more than 2 or 3 winds, 2 or 3 laps around. Just enjoy the process again. So that's almost there. So I'm just going to pop that in, make sure that this is now sitting in the right place on the bridge. There we go, that's in place now. Now I can definitely use my cutters for that, because I'm never sure about using the cutters on the winders. They don't seem to always snip it nice, but I do always make sure to just twist the string in there. So the fact that I've got the 2 outside strings done now means that this little tail piece is now locked in place and ain't going anywhere. So now what I can do is go to the position where I find a little bit more comfortable for putting my strings on, which is like this. This is how I generally do it with any sort of fixed bridge type guitar, like a Strat or a Telecaster. I'm almost certainly going to be restringing it like this. It's just with these guitars like this, or Fender Jaguar's another one with really weird bridge pieces that fall off. The 335 up there can be temperamental. The SG is okay because I've got a different thing. So yeah, different guitars do have these little quirks about them that you have to be aware of. So what I want you to do now is focus a little bit more on the on the headstock so you can really see how the windings go on. So we've already got the hole pointing down. So we're going to thread the string through the little hole. You definitely want your glasses on if you, yeah, there we go. I've got it now. Okay. So string through all of the way through. Just make sure it's kind of sitting okay in both those spots. Give it your 5 centimeters, 2 inches or whatever. Pull the string through. Now wrap it around from the outside into the middle. And then, well, that one just slipped out of my hand there. Hold it down. Point it with the first finger so it's against the wood. Use the fingers underneath to keep the tension on the string. And then you're winding again in an anti-clockwise direction, making sure that the bit that you're going to cut off is going over the string now every time. There we go. It's particularly important just on that first one, because after the first one it usually seems to go underneath all by itself. There we go. And just keep on winding. That's slipped off the little point down there. We're not trying to get it in tune. We're just trying to cut it, right? Trying to get it on. We're going to be worrying about tuning in just a second. So give that a snip and give the string a tweak. Like I said, the little tweaky bit here, that's just something that I like to do. I've stabbed myself in the finger with guitar strings right underneath the nail more times than I'd like to admit, and it really sucks. So that's, once you've done it a couple of times, you're like, yeah, there's going to be, let's not do that anymore. You find a way around it. Okay, here we go again, about 5 centimeters, 2 inches, maybe it's a little bit more than that. And then around the outside into the middle, pin it with your first finger, take away the slack, grab your winder, and off you go, winding in an anti-clockwise direction. Now, obviously, I've done a string change just once or twice in my life, so I'm feeling fairly confident with my string changes. If you're not feeling so confident and you want to take it a little bit slower, just give the video a little bit of a pause every couple of strings and catch up or whatever. It's completely up to you. There's no hurry. Don't be feeling like you have to keep up. It is one of those things, the more you do it, the more confident you feel. But again, it's kind of the point of this video really, is to give you a chance to do it along with somebody who knows what they're doing, or thinks they know what they're doing at least. Yeah, give you a chance to develop that confidence in changing your strings. And then we're going to tweak it in. That's 4 strings done, 2 to go only. Making sure we get the right one at this point, because that would be an easy mistake to make. That kind of looks similar. Okay. You should know the drill by now. Get it through the hole if you can. He says, come on. It's not that difficult. There we go. You young lot are going to be looking at this going, look at the silly old man. He can't even see it. He's trying to teach us how to do this stuff. Anyways, I'm okay with that. Around we go. This time, of course, we went from the outside in, holding the string down again with the fingers, gripping it nice, and then winding it, making sure that the string is kind of going around over the top kind of thing. You're still winding anti-clockwise. It just looks different when it's on the other side. Okay, just winding it through as it gets slower, more and more on. There we go. As it gets a bit tighter, you want to just guide it through the nut. Check that it's sitting in the nice place on the bridge. You can always move it a bit later on if you really need to. There we go. Give that a little bit of a snip. Hey, that string flew off somewhere into the background. I'm not going to get up and try and find it now. If you've got kids or pets and you lose a bit of string or you cut a bit of string off, I'd definitely go after it straight away. Don't leave it for your infant to find a bit of guitar string, because they can be pretty sharp. Cats seem to like playing with them as well. I used to have a cat that always played with my guitar strings, so I used to have to be very careful about putting them away as soon as I'd cut them off. So again, around the outside, pull it down, hold the tension with the fingers, get the winder on, and off we go again. Should be feeling fairly confident now. We've done it a few times. The more you do it, the easier it gets, like everything. It takes a bit of practice to get good at it and feel confident with it. Like I said, don't be in a hurry with it. Take your time, enjoy the process. We're nearly there. Not long to go on this one now. Okay, make sure that that's slotted in nicely there. There we go. Snip that last one. There we go. And bend the end. So now it's time to start getting it in tune, and really importantly, we're going to stretch the strings in. That's a really important part of the process. For that, you need to grab your tuner. Okay, so what we want to do now is just get the guitar roughly in tune. We're not trying to get it exactly perfectly in pitch at this point, because we want to stretch the strings in. So there's E, G sharp, go out to A, there we go. G, there we go. G. This one's got a bit to go. That's the B. All the way up to E. Now, what we want to do next is stretch the strings in. It's one of those things a lot of amateur guitar players don't bother with, but it really, really is important. So the idea here, once the strings have been put on, there's going to be a little bit of give here over the bridge. There's going to be a little bit of give around the tuning pegs. The string itself will stretch a bit. So we want to do that stretching in now, not the guitar gradually going out of tune while we play it. So what I recommend you do is that you just grab around the neck with your fretting hand. The other hand, you're going to grab a few fingers underneath the strings, just like, you know, 1 or 2, 3 fingers, whatever, and then you use the heel of your hand to press down on the fretboard and give the string a good pull, right? You could definitely break them. If you really pulled really hard, you'd break the string. That's not what you're after. You're after a stretch. So don't do it suddenly. Do it like, you know, pulling in, stretching the string. Okay, onto the A string again. Put the fingers underneath the string. Heel down. We're still just holding the reason that we're holding the neck here is just to keep the string in the nut. Give that A string a good stretch. Sometimes I do this, like moving it up and down. I'm not sure that makes any difference, to be honest, but sometimes I do it that way. Onto the D string. Same thing, just giving it a good old stretch. Onto the G. The other good thing is if you happen to get a duff string, which I don't think I've ever had a D'Addario duff string, like one that's just snapped out the gate, unless there's been something wrong with the guitar, like a burr on the bridge or something. But at least you're going to find out then if your string's a little bit wonky. Let's check the tuning again now, because almost certainly the tuning is going to have dropped significantly. So let's see exactly how much they've gone. So here's the E. It's gone all the way down to a C sharp. That was a big drop. The A. Dropped a tone there. D dropped down to a C. Just a semitone there on the G string. Semitone on the B string. And not much on the E at all. There we go. Now, I am going to do it again, just to quickly go through. There's the E. A, D. The stretching in, I think, is pretty important. I think it's something that I've always done on, you know, as a working musician, it's particularly important. If you're a hobbyist, it's kind of maybe less important. Yeah, the E string still dropped a bit. Half a semitone or something. Oh, come on, what's going on? There you go. Bit of a glitch there in the tuner. If you heard that, it kind of made a funny clicky sound. This is an old girl, so everything gets a little bit cranky on these old guitars, which is, as I said, something I love about them. There you go, there's the B. And there's the E. And there's your guitar nicely in tune. I really hope that you've enjoyed this video and you enjoy playing your freshly strung guitar. It's always a special experience. You get a nice little zing and a real nice kind of feeling under the fingers with a fresh set of strings. There are lots of details that I kind of skipped over here. The different types of strings that you might choose, different gauges of strings, different types of nuts, different types of bridges, accessories that you might be interested in using to help you make your string changes faster. Detailed lessons on all of that stuff is over on the website, so follow the link below this video to go and check that out. Yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Have yourself a fantastic day, and I'll see you for plenty more very soon. Bye-bye.